Well, good morning, Shane and
Thank
Bobby and
you.
Mary and Ann.
Good
You
morning.
got a cold there?
I've been, ever since last Saturday when we got the bad weather, I got sick and I'm now better than I have been. So,
Yeah, did you see my first note? I was wondering how you guys are doing with all that cold weather and snow.
well, wasn't a lot of snow and more ice. I have to
Ew.
I have to say that I laughed at Texas, even though I've been down here 20 some years. They just don't know how to handle the snow
No.
and ice.
Where are you from originally?
Pennsylvania.
Okay, okay,
Yeah.
yeah.
Where I'm from, they got 29 inches of snow.
Yeah. Well, we're just almost finished digging out from our storm of
Yeah.
December 29th.
Great, great, great.
Yeah. And we had over minus 40 uh wind chill. And minus 40 were all the same. That's cold.
They,
Yep.
they
Well,
had some
good.
delays in shipments from Manitech.
Yeah, because they couldn't ship
Yeah,
out.
Well, the
yeah.
Amy should
planes
have been
weren't
over
running.
there doing all the shipping.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's
the airports
10:01.
were.
Enough on shipping. Let's talk about Manitech.
Well,
I
you do
did.
need to know that Manatech did have a delays on shipping. So if your people are calling you and they didn't get their order when they should have, you could explain that's why.
Yeah.
But also want to make sure you saw the announcement that you can now ship your multi-glycan points orders with your subscriptions.
Nice.
Isn't that's a
Yeah,
great feature?
People have been asking for that for about a year, Lydia, so I'm glad that we can finally do it.
Yeah. And also, I don't know if you guys caught the email Manatech sent out yesterday talking about our mana poll. Go to All About Manatech. They did an article on it where they're doing some research about our mana poll, comparing it to other mana polls, other Ace Man, not man. There's only one mana poll. Other Ace Manin. Pretty
Well,
good
there's
stuff
more
to
out
have.
there, is there?
Oh, well, there's a lot of different aloes out there, and a lot of them claim to have ace mana in or whatever, but nobody has results like Manipul. And every time we do clinical studies, it just validates itself again and again and again.
Hey,
So
everyone. I just want to throw out there I'm like packaging and stuff at work. So I am listening on Saturdays, but I'm at work. So that's why I don't respond.
not
It's
a
okay, Bobby.
problem.
If
Um,
everybody responded, we couldn't keep this call. It'd be 17 hours long. Okay. So,
Right.
okay. So that's a blessing. Yeah.
so let
But
me just
anyway,
share this before I get Mary
can I
Jo.
just make one quick, yeah. Oh, good. Jumping into Manipul. It's
Yeah,
really
so
not that
here's
first.
here's the art. 6 hours ago, nothing else compares. And they have the whole where they're actually it's a great article to read
yeah,
and
yeah.
have and share with your team.
Looks
Especially
nice.
because we have other competitors entering the market that are trying to step on our toes. But the one thing that no one has the quality of our Manipul, of our Ace Manin. So it's just, in fact, a lot of the products that are coming out, or people are suggesting they're getting glyconutrient products. Some of them have no mannose at all. So you really, the distinction is number one, of course, we always go back to how many years have we been in this business? Who is the originator of this whole thing, right? And start talking about who started it. And we have the best supply and we have the highest quality manipul or manosaccharide and uh, glyconutrients that are out in the marketplace. So we will have more information on that too for you guys if you come up and feel like you have to contest that with some other people in the field. But when you have a product as good
No.
as ours, you are always gonna, the beauty of this is what I want you to understand. Because a lot of people get frustrated and they talk to me, it goes, oh, Mary Jo, now everybody's getting this or they're getting this or getting this. I said, do you not have a sense of pride in what you have that everybody wants to copy you? Do you guys get this? If we didn't have a phenomenal product, no one else would be trying to copy it. Does that make sense? And so the copycat stuff out there is something that take pride in the fact that people so value what we have that they want to try to copy it. because the results are there, the quality of life is there with people consuming it, so they want to have it. All right, good.
Hey, Mary
So
Jo, can I add one thing on this
absolutely.
study as well? So again, there's a lot of competitors out there, and anybody can say anything. But when we send products out to be third-party tested, I said it a minute ago that again and again, other competitors are shown to basically not live up to what they're claiming. So you got to be really careful. And I just want to point out one thing from this study. When we talk about the eight sugars and all the different profiles, there's one sugar that we get plenty of in our diet, and that's glucose, right? We don't need more glucose. That's the basic, that's the table sugar. And what this study showed is one of the leading competitors, one of the people that are out there promoting their product as good as Manipul. Some of them are saying, "Oh, it's better than Manipul." It was 43% glucose. So it's basically almost half table sugar.
Ooh.
So for anybody that is, we've obviously for 30 years talked about this is not the same thing as, table sugar.
Yeah.
But for their product, half of their product, almost 43% is. Whereas Manipul only has 7%. Again, that's just in the sugar profile. So you're always going to get a little bit, but 43% versus 7%. That's a huge difference. And again, that's just one part of this study. There was so much more in it. And as Lydia said, look at it, read it, and really share it with your team. We're going to do a lot more. You're going to hear, I heard that Landon and Dr. Nugent is about to do some podcasts, just really validating Manipul and Ambertos. We have something so special. And obviously, everybody on this call, we know how special it is, but it's just important for our customers, for everybody on our team, for people that are especially new to Manitech to just really realize and recognize how valuable Ambertos is. And I know we do a lot of talking about the liver cleanse and all that is so important, but the key ingredient for the liver cleanse is glycans, but specifically it's our Ambertos. That is a special, special product. Again, I know I'm preaching to the choir, but it's so important. And you guys have something that nobody else in the market has. And again, when these studies come out, and again, they validate again and again and again, these are third-party studies. It's really special to be part of a company that has such a high quality product. So there we go, Mary Jo, little soapbox there, but just
No, it's
wanted,
great.
yeah.
I love it. I love it. In fact, I'm familiar with the competitor you're talking about, 43% glucose, and I tell people that's a guarantee you're going to get diabetes. So go have at it.
Yeah.
You know,
You get that? I mean, it's just crazy. It's really crazy. Yeah, Anne.
well, and that's the kind of thing that could screw up the market for us if we don't try to meet that kind of stuff, and talk about this because
Correct.
they get diabetes. Wonderful. They'll never try our product because it's
Yeah.
sugar.
Well, but there's one other thing I want to say too. Don't be afraid of competition when you hear of other companies, other products, other people talking about glycans, other people talking about the incredible benefits of this. As Landon has been talking about for as long as he's been CEO, wants to make multi-glycans common, wants multi-glycans to be something that everybody knows about. Well, the only way to get there is for everybody to know about it. And so when other people that are outside of Vanatech are talking about glycans, that's a good thing. But it gives us an opportunity to point out how the high quality Ambertos is and how ours are the best in the marketplace. So it might change the conversation a little bit, but that's the reason these studies are that we're providing these studies and whatnot for you. But don't be afraid. Like I said, when you hear of other people, other companies talking about their glycans, it's okay. That's part of, the market is growing and there's more and more people that are knowing about it. Again, we've compared it to multivitamins and minerals. We're not to that point yet where every single person in the world is taking some vitamin and mineral. But to get to that level, you're going to have a lot of different companies out there. And again, Manitech and Ambertos will always be number one. And it just gives us an incredible opportunity to show people how high quality Ambertos really is. So boom, there we go.
Oh, it's great. And that's what I always tell people too. I said, All that tells you with 18 exclamation points is how great Ambertos is because everybody's trying to copy it.
That's right.
If people weren't trying to copy your product, what kind of product do you have? Does this make some sense to you too? So take it as an honor instead of getting depressed about it. Look at it and say, I'm honored that all these companies are out there trying to duplicate us. They can't touch us, right? But the beauty of it, what does it tell you about our product? People don't go out and try to duplicate stuff that doesn't work, right? So there's the validation, not just from my mouth or all the incredible stories I have for you, but look at around the world. We've got a half dozen to a dozen different companies trying to duplicate our product today after 30 years in this industry. So be a little bit more positive and prideful almost about what's happening in our industry. I look at it that way and it makes me a happy camper instead of somebody that says, don't you steal my product, right? Okay, good, good. All right, so any other questions on that? We good? Because I want to get
Wait, before you get into that, so this is the last week of Richard Brooks' book, Leadership on Fire. In February, we have a new book, and it's Questions Are the Answers. I wanted to let you know that you could order it on Amazon. If you go to Amazon, I would not buy the full price book is like $69, but if you click on used, they have them for like $1.52.
That's good value, Lydia.
yeah.
So they have them all frames of books that you just click on the used books.
Yeah.
And so I know some of you have already started reading the book.
But
Um,
if you're going to buy a used book, just make sure it says in good condition because they're very honest about their reference about what condition the book's in. You don't want to get something that's trash.
Who's the author?
Alan
Questions,
Peasy.
peas.
Pease. I'll put the link, the Amazon link I just had in the chat. And then so that's next week is our Super Saturday. So it's more of our it's our 2-hour training. So make sure you invite teams. And then Mary Jo is going to review the book. Then we have some other things to talk about. Al has apologized. He is not feeling well this morning, so he is resting. But he will be back next week.
Okay, good. So let's review it. You guys, you're the ones that are going to be participating in this call today because you all are reading the book as well and should be done with it at this stage. We're going to cover 7, 8, 9, and 10 this morning. Chapter 7 was about yearning to learn. Leaders are learners. Okay. So what the first question was, identify your comfort zone. Where are you playing it safe? So how are you sitting in your comfort zone and not stretching yourself? And look at yourself in Manatech. What am I doing? How am I sitting in my comfort zone? Who wants to respond to that?
I can tell you the people who joined the 5-a-day club, they're not sitting in their comfort zone anymore. They've all done a great job this week, reaching out to 5 people.
Every day.
Joan and Olga and Juanita.
Raise your hand if you really, if if you're doing 5 a day or maybe you missed one, that's open. You're really working at 5 a day. Awesome. Yeah, it's good.
Well,
Was
Was
that
it comfortable for you to do that? Go ahead, Tinny.
oh, yeah, well, I mentioned last week already about a great post of one of my livery set, and I'm still following him up. And this morning was also a neighborhood, and I thought I'd go for one, and there were four family members. What was it? An hour back on the table, so I could share the livery set. So sometimes it's out of the blue, and that's well, if I go through with that, that's an amazing that you can share the story of the Embratos. and the liver reset.
But
And
is
I
it?
live in an area, yeah, I live in an area with a lot of horse stables here.
Uh-huh.
I know from the past that we had good result with the embryos as well with horses. So that's interesting. So I didn't, well, I know it, but you don't work with that. So on the table, different stories came up. So it was just a 1.5 hour this afternoon. I sat with them, and I think two will start with the liver reset next week or whatever. So that's interesting. Yeah, yeah,
Let me
yeah.
let me just throw something out there for you. I don't think things come out of the blue. I
Okay.
think you put the energy in the universe and you start attracting, even when you don't see how the attraction really happened. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I know. Oh, thank you.
absolutely.
Yeah,
So don't because a lot of times we discredit ourselves by saying out of the blue, and I'm going, no, 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 no. Your energy that you've been putting forth is what disseminates and attracts that back to you. When you don't put any energy out there, don't have any expectation of
oh,
anything
that's
coming
right.
back,
That's right.
right? So we all need to be consistently putting energy out there and just to, the smiles, the like, what are you doing, Mary Jo? What is this? Whatever that is, you keep putting energy out there and it'll come back. Yeah, Mark, did you have?
Yeah, hi everyone. I missed last week, so wasn't quite aware of the 5 a day, but it's relevant. Quite a few years ago, one of the actually the founding mothers of our team passed away sadly, missed her madly, and I took on her list with the with the permission of her husband, and called a whole bunch of people that she was looking after. This has been going on for a few years, and I've developed relationships. We've had repeat customers. We've helped people. But I always say I'm going to call you back, and it's always in January. I'm going to call you back in a year, if that's okay with you. People who aren't interested, people who are somewhere else completely, rather than calling them. And I spoke to someone a couple of weeks ago out of the blue. And guys, I've been doing this for 25 years, and I always feel nervous for the first few calls, without a doubt. I always do. So I've got my list, I've got my numbers ready. I dial the first few, and the first one didn't answer. The second one answered, and I spoke to this wonderful woman called Joanne, who it turned out in the year that I spoke to her has developed a nasty neurodegenerative disease issue in her body, and you could tell in her voice. And she started. And of course, I asked how are you, and we went through that, and I said, and I started explaining. And it's interesting. Just quickly sidebar. Protein folding has been one of my passions, having seen that glycans play a major role in how things are made, which gets sent up to the brain. So I did, and it was relative to that. So I said, look, out of the blue, I've just been reading up about this, how our glycans can really help this condition. And she was super interested. But what I wanted to share with you was that I was nervous. There she was, and at the end of the call, she said, "I just wanted to say, this is like a prayer being answered because I've been with this condition for 6 months now. I've researched absolutely everything I possibly could, and I don't know where to go next. This, and I quote, is a real blessing. Thank you." We got her on the glycans, of course. Yeah, yeah.
Yay. Great, 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 great. Marks,
Mm,
congratulations. Super story. Who
yeah.
else? Stories. Who's been working out there? Okay, well, we got to get out there and talk to people, right? Amen. Do all of you have a minimum of five a day? Are we still doing that, or are you trying to is it down to three? Maybe some of you one, whatever is happening. And we know life sometimes gets in the way, but jump in and go out there and take it back on.
Yeah,
Here's what our psychology is such that when we do five a day and then we get down to two and then we miss a day and all of a sudden we just write it off.
yeah.
Jump back on the horse. And you don't have to get back to five, maybe get back to two a day and just gradually build up to five a day or whatever. But don't give up on it. Just get back on the horse. Yeah, Shane.
I want to give a shout out to Olga, and she had mentioned in the 5 a day group being a little bit, uh, I don't know, impatient, maybe. And then quite quickly, next day, she gave a little happy dance memo or something like that. She signed up her customer. And I was thinking about how it's easy to remember a happy dance and go into that uncomfortable zone with that little bit of energy from that happy dance. So thanks, Olga. You made my day.
Great. Thanks.
You're
Good job.
welcome. Thank you. Um, I'm sorry, my husband is preparing the house for the cold. It's gonna feel like 15 tomorrow in Orlando. Orlando. So we we are all freezing. This is crazy. But anyway, he
Well, don't
got
come
us.
to Dallas. It isn't any better here.
It's awful. Yeah, I had that, and that client came from a video that I made before. I think it was last week, and I shared in the chat. So people, I'm getting to different group, but what got overwhelmed is that I got into too many groups. Oh, the plans, and I said, oh my God, this is overwhelming. Wait, I have to let me consult, like somebody said here, who was it? Jay? Go to ChatGPT. And I said, ChatGPT, I'm overwhelmed. I'm doing the 555. I was doing well and now I feel overwhelmed and I'm getting tired. What should I do? And she said, don't worry, calm down, Olga. I said, what? What? It happens to all, to everyone. Just what I suggest is to get into one group, the more that are more passionate about, and do that group specifically for 3 days. Then, if they answer the second 2 days, then you go to follow up. If no one answers in 2 weeks, take another group. But Olga, if you're doing great, if you feel comfortable, take two groups, like A and B, and work for 2 weeks. So that's what I'm doing. And that calmed me down. So that lady or that man, I don't know what it is, but it scares me sometimes. Don't worry, you're doing great. I said, what? Who are you?
Well, yeah, chat can do that. In fact, I think it's going to put all psychiatry and psychologists out of business.
Oh my gosh, yeah, I know. But I'm gonna do that because it calmed me down right away. I mean, it put me on track again. So I'm
Good.
gonna do that and I'll report and see. I'll let you know how it's going.
So thanks for the share. And some of you should think about using chat when you're getting down in doldrums and you write yourself off for the day. Just go into chat and say, please help me. How do I get back on
Uh,
track? And I'm not telling you, it's your best friend. Yeah, Tiny, go ahead.
yeah. Yeah. Well, about ChatGPT, I was checking my social media, what I write on it. So I put what I had on my story, whatever. I put it in ChatGPT, and he gave just little words that is making it to the point. It's awesome. Yeah,
Yep, right.
that's a
Because
great
here's
tool.
yeah, chat's a great, and I look at chat this way because we are all different personality quadrant, right? We're all different personalities here. But with chat, you can be any personality. But one of Lydia's favorite words she always uses is engaging. So if you haven't been using that word in submitting your request to chat, using engaging. Because
Okay, good.
engaging is something that it's a word that causes your language to come out to trigger other people to respond because that's how you engage. So give me an engaging blah 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 in chat. You'll come out with things and you go, "Wow, that's terrific." But it doesn't sound like me, Mary Jo. I said that's probably a good thing if you haven't signed up 5 people in the last couple of weeks, right? Because maybe we can even learn how we can speak a little differently with people by what chat feeds us. So it's not just using chat for your immediate communication that you're posting but look at what's coming out of chat and say, wow, I like that languaging. I need to adopt some of that in my everyday languaging. Make sense, everyone? So don't just, because you don't want to be two different people, but work on yourselves perhaps to be a little bit more engaging in how you communicate with other people as well through adopting some of the language from chat. Good, good. Great shares. So so everybody in the chapter 7, learning to yearning to learn, in the book, it talks about 3 mentors: the sage, right? The peer, somebody walking alongside you. So we all need a sage. Hopefully you guys have somebody upline or crossline that you look at and say, that's a person I go to when I really need some help. Have somebody in your life that's like that for you, whether you're in a group together or maybe you're the leader. If you're the leader of a group, I just suggest to you, you need to also have a sage in your life. Otherwise, you're a lone ranger on the top of the mountain. And it's so awesome to get fed by people who are, at your level or above, so you can come up with new ideas, new concepts, new ways of looking at something, maybe new ways of communication, and they can see things in you that you don't see yourself. So whoever that might be for you, I happen to be really lucky because I live so close to corporate. I've got Al, I talked to Richard Brooks, so I've got a lot of what I call my sages for Mary Jo that allow me to think differently. Because I know if I continue thinking the same way, I'm going to continue creating the same results. So we all can grow from people around us, and then we get the opportunity to share that approach, that information to our group, and be a greater sage for our group. The peer is somebody that walks alongside you, right? And those would be like whoever's walking alongside you. Who do you look at as a peer in your organization? You have some big leaders in your organization, then you have your peers, and that's your peer group. And you want to make sure that, you're working with those. And that's really important to you as well. And then the students are the ones that you're working with, that you're helping what? To grow. They're the students. Someone you're helping to climb up that mountain. Every new sign up of yours is a student of yours. And you want to do the best job you can in that student-teacher relationship. So those are the things that came. Leaders are learners, chapter 7, right? And then the other aspect in the chapter was, how much time do we spend learning network marketing? Well, you guys are on this call every week, so I'm going to give you full credit for being on the call every week because, right? I mean, why do we get on this call every week? It's an opportunity to grow and learn and hear something different and hear from people who are being successful out there. What can I be doing differently? Or just learning where can I look to be a better person or be a better leader or be a better, marketer, all the kind of concepts there. We want to always be green and growing instead of
Stagnating.
Ripe and rotting.
Ripe and rotting.
go, Shay.
Momentum.
Okay, right.
Didn't get unmuted quick enough.
I saw you, Sharon. I knew you knew it. Yeah, green and growing, or we're ripe and rotting. Because the reality is there's no such thing as stability in this life for anything living. You're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting. So we got to choose. I want to be green and growing. And that's what keeps us coming back for more and more and more, right? So we want to keep learning the trade, learning how to do it better. And the other reason this is exciting for me is because when I look back when I first started in network marketing 30 years ago with my dad's experience, and I can go back and I can pull out some of my old notes and things like that, and I go, wow, what a path this has been. Do you guys recognize it in yourself? I think it's a good thing to look back and say, where was I when I first started in Manatech? I knew nothing. And some of you maybe had 30 years experience in network marketing with other companies. I never, ever had done network marketing. I mean, I probably, because most people don't go after lawyers to join them in network marketing. And I probably wouldn't be in it today, except for my father's phenomenal experience with Ambertos. That made all the difference in the world. And I knew that for me, I felt it was God calling on my heart and my life to go share it with the world. Who am I not to share that with the world? So that's what got me involved in network marketing. But the idea is that, we always want to look for who are those people in our lives, how are we impacting those lives, and be ready, um, to be a student at all times, because that's why does Mary Jo read 2 books a week or sometimes 4 books a month, it depends, anywhere from 2 to 4 books a month, but it's always about I don't want to be stagnant. I want to be green and growing. And thank you for our buddy Richard to give us this great book to encourage us to continue to grow. Um, and he says, what are your favorite growth books? Who's got an idea? What are your favorite growth books? That was one of his questions. What are your favorite growth books?
I like the one it's called Mastery. I don't remember the author, but I love reading that one again and again. It's simple,
Uh-huh.
Think and Grow
profound.
Rich.
And when you read it, do you grab takeaways in that moment? You just grab something?
I read and have a sip of lemon water and grab a concept and go, wow, that one's gonna like apply all the way across the board here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I
I
like to
always look for.
do you post one of the things I like to do just as a concept. When I come across a home run ball concept, I like to get it on put it on the computer and blow it up to about 2 inches. And then I copy it and I plaster it on my bathroom window. I'm over my bed or downstairs on the refrigerator. So this is a way, people, that we don't lose the concept if you really want that concept to become part of you, right? So
I
it's ever present.
I take a screenshot and put it as what's a screensaver on my
Screensaver on
phone.
your phone?
Yeah,
Perfect. You better
yeah.
love that. Great. Thank you for that idea too, as well. But you
I
want to
still
be,
think GoPro is one of the best growth books in the marketplace. Just, I think it really changes how people think about this industry. That this is a profession. It's not a hobby. It's something that we treat, with respect and reverence, and just the way we organize our day, and just how we think of this business. And so, especially if you have people that are maybe skeptical about the business, or maybe you've had a bad experience before, GoPro is great. Obviously, Richard Brooks, for your career. I mean, those two are kind of A and B for me as far as validating this business. So.
great.
Yeah, I'd agree with Kevin big time on that. I think GoPro is the handbook for network marketing. It doesn't talk about social media stuff, but the basics, absolutely the basics. I agree completely. And I don't know if you guys, it's called the 5 levels of formality. I think Mary Jo, you did a training on that a while back, I believe,
I did.
about how to talk to people, how to talk to people that you know very well, that you know a little bit, and even right up to the top, the big, what you call it, the big chickens at the top. I can't think of the right term. The people
Yeah.
that you're really scared to talk to, the big
Right.
networking marketing. Really, I highly recommend it, guys. The five levels of formality.
Right.
Definitely.
Great. Great, great, great.
Yeah.
And I talk to some people and sometimes they go, well, Mary Jo, I'm kind of intimidated. Any of you intimidated by people that you don't talk to because you're a little intimidated by them? They're going to judge me. They're going to do this, but right? We come across those people. They might be a vice president or president of a company, or they might be somebody that's, multimillionaire down the street or whatever that is, and we get intimidated by it.
Can I, sorry, can I very quickly share a story? Sorry, I'm terrible. Once I start talking, guys, you have to mute me from your end. I think he got up to, I think it was bronze or silver in South Africa, and he tells a wonderful story about how it's all about bigging people up. I can't think tonight, sorry, but anyway, he went to see one of his team, the lower levels, if you like, had set up a meeting with a really big business guy, and he arrived at the house, and in South Africa, it's the big houses are very firmly protected, and because of the political situation, and he had to buzz himself in, and the security guards and stuff like that. And as he drove in, he noticed a garage with like two Porsches and one hairy car that he'd always been dreaming about. And he's thinking, holy smoke, what am I doing coming here? And he knocked on the door, and a big guy opened the door, and he said, are you the man that's going to come and help me get my life back? Yeah. Because the way that he'd been set up, I can't think of what's help me with the word, guys. Sorry, the South Africans do it a lot. So
Keep
so
edify.
edify, thank you. So this guy had really edified him, and this man was working 20 hours a day. He had all the house, he had all the cars, but he had no life. Can you imagine that, guys? That's so important. So you just never know. They might, it looks like they've got everything, but there might be something really big that's missing from their life. Absolutely. Thank you.
Great, good. And good. And you talked about what came across there a little bit was the idea, are we getting intimidated by other people because of their stature? And for those of you who feel that that stops you sometimes when talking to people because they look like they have it all together or they have a lot of money or they, whatever it is. I want you to read the book, What You Think of Me Is None of My Business. Okay, it's a great book. We get so wrought up in what other people think of us, and it really is none of your business. What our business is we have something beautiful to share with people that can bring them incredible health, incredible business opportunity, incredible community of people that really have a heart and passion to change this world, and a mission to save malnourished kids all around the world. Now, if somebody can't relate to one of those four things, then they're probably not a target market for you, okay? But most people will grab onto one of those four and run with it like crazy, or maybe three of the four. And most people, when you mention those things, what's going to happen? They're going to find something in there that they go, Mary Jo, when you talked about that mission concept, that's lacking in my life. And they'll swallow Ambertoast just because mission's lacking in their life. And they found a source where they can do this kind of mission work, like what we have with M5M. Does that make sense? I mean, so you never know what the interest is going to be. But if all we're doing is trying to put liver reset on them, they don't know who we really are or what we're really about. You can go out market liver reset, that's great. But then don't ever let go of communicating with a person that you're starting with a liver reset about what this company is really all about, what we add to people's lives, right? And that's how I like to look at it. You got health, wealth, community, and mission. Health, wealth, community, and mission. And those are some of the major concepts of everybody on this planet who says, I'm missing something in life. Probably it fits within those four. So,
Mary Jo, I've never read that book that you just recommended, but I'll admit that I'm one of those people that, think about, worry about sometimes, what other people think about me. It's my personality type. But especially early on when I was building the business, that was a real what are people going to think that I'm doing this business that at that time I didn't have a real high level of value for. But somebody said something to me that really helped. And that is, when you're thinking about somebody, like, what are they thinking about me? And, oh, they might think this and they might think that. At the end of the day, they're not thinking about you at all. Other people are not thinking about you. They're thinking about themselves. They're thinking about what's going on in their life. And so just let that go. They're not thinking about, like, it's not your business what they think, as the book says. But at the end of the day, people they're not thinking about you at all.
right.
And so don't worry about it. It's just not something that matters in this world. And so just do what you need to do. Tell them what you need to tell them. And if they do it, great. If they don't do it, fine. But don't worry about what they're thinking about, because that's not something that, is really relevant, because again, people are just worried about themselves.
Yeah, yeah, and it's fun to have people in Manatee who came from big careers, and in fact, and I just sharing mine too, because I remember when I first, my dad had a miracle result with Ambertoast. That's a lot of you know my story, which is why I walked away from what I was doing to tell the world about Ambertoast and the Manatee products. And people would people would tell people, they go, well, you used to be a lawyer, because that's my background, and I still do some pro bono legal work for people, only pro bono. But the idea is that you can find people of what I love of the fact that that's part of my background. It's not an arrogance. It's about how you all can use this when you're sharing with somebody that happens to be, and you can go, well, we've actually attracted lawyers who walked away from their business to do this because of the miracles of the product. I mean, you can talk to people about that experience, and now that can help them to understand that maybe there's a better way, or wow, if somebody else is willing to do that, then I need to look at it as well. So, and I'm not the only one. There are other people in Manatech that have had, big, huge careers. And so, but that's something you should use too, and when it's appropriate for what you're doing. Because some people they are naysayers about network marketing. And you can look at them and you go, well, that's not been my experience. We've had, outstanding lawyers that have given up their career to come, but it's not because of the model as much as it's because of the quality of the products. And the products are what sell the model, right? When you've got a product that everybody ought to be taking, I don't care what model it is. I want everybody swallowing it, right? It's like that. But this happens to be a model that you can get your products for free plus more, right? And that's what my hope is for you, because I don't know very many people today in this world that can't use an extra $500,000 a month in income, right? So use that as an idea. Great. So yeah, growth. Okay, stories sells, but so we always want to remember we got stories out there. What are we bringing into people's life? What changed everything? The shift we talk about, and how to be a great storyteller. He talks about that. Who knows those 4 steps, right? He talks about it in chapter 8, story sellers. Learn to be a great storyteller. 1, where you started, so you're relatable. Number 2, the shift, what changed everything, which is really a concept of hope. The success, where you are now, which is the possibility. And then the 4th one is the system, how they can follow, that actions they can take that'll help them have the same kind of experience. So I look at it, I kind of looked at this and I said, these are all S's, where you start it, the shift, the success, the system, 4-step process. So you can use that, you can use whatever works for you, of course, but every successful story, whatever story you might be using out there, he talked about it needs 3 things. It needs pain. Where was the pain? And some people go, well, Mary Jo, where's your pain? You didn't have any. And I said, pain? I don't know. If you had a loved one in your life that was suffering from Alzheimer's, I can guarantee you that that's painful. So I did have pain. I did have pain in my life. The pleasure and then the power. Pain, pleasure, power. You tell your story. 3 pillars. Yeah. So, and then we look at the 3 pillars of leadership. Anyone remember that out of the book? He talked about in chapter 8, he talked about vulnerability. I think a lot of people, I've coached a lot of people in Manatech over the years, my goodness. People don't like to talk about stories, their own stories. They want to, use, but then what do you do if you don't want to talk about your story? Whose story do you talk about? Pick anyone's story. You have so many stories. How many stories do you know of in Manatech of people coming through? 100,000? Come on, Mark's raising up. He goes, I can't count them all, Mary Jo. I don't have enough fingers. I need some of they're doing. I need about 3,000 hands. That would give me 30,000 stories, right? Or 15,000 stories. But the idea is we have so many stories, and stories, yeah, facts tell, stories sell. We've heard that 101 times in doing our network marketing business. And you know what? Guess what? It's still true. So don't throw out some of those old sayings that you might have heard 20 years ago when you first jumped in, or 30 years ago. Facts tell, stories sell.
Well, Mary Jo, and I think that's why people are having such success with the liver reset. It's because, when you guys are doing the Tuesday night meetings, or just talking to people, we're not telling them all the facts about the liver. Some maybe, but that's not what the presentation is all about. It's all the stories, it's all the results that people are getting. And that's why I think there's such a enthusiasm about this right now, because that's something that, we can compliantly talk about those results and not have to worry about, getting into like, oh, did I say too much? But it's those stories, and so it just validates what you're saying, right, Joe? Is the facts are great about the liver, the science, or the products, and again, it's always got to be part of it. You got to explain that a little bit, but it's the stories, it's the results, it's the
Right.
what's happening. That's what people are loving about it.
Right, right. In fact, I probably, if I look at the people that we're starting on, Lydia's doing a great job, but they're falling in love with it. I'm not, I can't understand how you can lose weight that fast. You know, that's a big, but that's because of Lydia's experience. So that's a big selling point because people are like, they go on these diets for 6 months and they lose 5 pounds. I said, well, how about 2 days and you lose 5 pounds in a healthy way, right? I mean, it's pretty crazy, but it works, and it's that fat that you never want to see again, too. For most of us who've gone through it, we know what I'm talking about, and it's fun. It's a good story. Yeah, it's a great story to sell. So, and he says, talk about, a hook, a message, a hook. He says, here are the 5 C's of your story: context, who are you? Number 2 is challenge. What problem did you have? Number 3 is connection. Who and how did you find the solution? And why did you believe in it? A lot of you leave that out of talking to people. Why did you believe in it when you heard it? And sometimes you just need to say, it just made sense to me how my body operates, cellular communication. It just made sense. When you say that in communicating to people, what are you doing? You're putting that in their head. When you tell somebody, this really makes sense, the first thing the person concludes, this is how our brain works. Oh, it's sensible, right? We follow, you're communicating it and displacing disbelief with belief by saying that. This makes sense, right? And then you talk about, the context of your celebrate, what was the solution like for you? And then call to action. What do you want me to do with this story I just heard? Is what that person's thinking. What do you want me to do with the story? Call to action. You got to have a call to action. So that's great information that he has again in there. And then leaders are ontological coaches. Did you like that word, ontological? You guys get that in the book? I was going, way to go, Richard. Put a word in there that everybody has to look up. And it's state of being coach is what it is. It's the state of being coach. If you're feeling good about what you're doing, you'll be all in and in a good mood. If you love to be in that mode, and I know, you tell me what that is for you, because I know I'll just share my insight into that as I was reading the book was, okay, so what made me love to be a coach? Well, I think it went back to Mary Jo's core value of contribution. If you really like to contribute to people, then you automatically fall into the role of being a coach, right? Because how do you contribute to somebody if you can't coach them or do? And this doesn't mean you're some extraordinary genius person that knows it all. It just means I love contributing to people. I love giving them ideas or concepts to help them move forward in their life. That's coaching, right? So we're committed. We're not, trying to fix people. We're committed to another person's greatness. I think if you write that down and you stare at it every day, because a lot of you say to yourself, you talk yourself out perhaps, and I'm not referencing anyone specific here, but a lot of people talk, they I don't like selling, I don't like that. And I said, you're not committed to that. You're not trying to fix people. You're committed to a person's greatness, being the best they can be. I always reference it like this. I always tell people when I'm talking to them, we get in a heavy conversation about things. I go, my great push in life is to help people live their highest and best lives. And where did Mary Jo come up with that? I came up with that when I was like 5, running the neighborhood kids. I was like in charge, talk about leadership. Kevin's laughing. I mean, but I just said, I just want to help people. I wanted to live my highest and best life, which has set me on my path, why I well, I did well in school and all that stuff, but I wanted to help other people. Why wouldn't I want other people to live their highest and best lives? If you look around the world, think about what our world would be like if everybody was living their highest and best lives. Wow. We'd have a pretty phenomenal place. So I think taking that on for yourself, right? That's our coaching as our commitment. We're not trying to fix people. We're committed to their greatness. And that's another phraseology I use with people when I get involved and I get to know them better. I don't do it you don't do it the first day you meet them, but as you get to know them better, it's like, you know what, the greatness I see in you. That's one of the most powerful statements you can say to somebody. Because think about it for yourself. If somebody came up to you and said, the greatness I see in you, how does that make you feel? It touches you inside of you. And you can say, well, Mary Jo, how do I say that to somebody I just met? But when you meet somebody, you know, you can say, you know, one of my funnest things about you, just in this short period of time, is this is it. I see this in you. It doesn't even have to be necessarily accurate. The idea of it being positive and reinforcing, and it's something you find in them. Yes, it's encouraging. And I'll tell you this, that in doing this business, they may not care about the products or the money, but they love finding somebody that sees greatness in them and they want to hang out with you. Now you become the attractor factor. Peggy, right. They know you care. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. But care about them versus see greatness in them are two really distinct things. I can care about somebody without seeing greatness in them. But when I mention that I see something really incredible, you know, one of the things I love the most about you, this, your heart, or that you have this, or this passion of yours, or whatever. And you could say, well, Mary Jo, I meet a lot of people and they're pretty, you know, some of them are really shallow and blah, 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 blah. And I say, just listen hard enough and something will come out that you can pick on. Dispose of all your judgment about them and just look for. And so, and a lot of you know my Grover Crenshaw story. I don't know if you guys remember, but I met this one guy and he wanted to come. He said, oh, I want to come over. And I was like, I mean, he looked like he came out from under a bush. I mean, his clothes were all dirty. He looked disheveled. He was like, I mean, it was just like, his name was Grover. And I was like, okay, yeah, fine. Yeah, yeah, you're Grover here. And at some level, I was a little nervous about even giving him my address to come to my house, right? But I did, you know. So he came over to the house and we sat down and talked and and he bought two All-Star packs. I fell over dead. I mean, literally, I wanted to ask him, and where the heck are you getting that money from? Notice how much judgment we have just because the guy was wearing dirty clothes and broken down shoes and whatever. And he actually reached national director in Manatech. He'd bring me, and that's, I mean, it's, we don't, our judgment is off. Tiny, did you want to say something? You raised your hand.
Oh, maybe it's a nice story, Ahmed. I was working in yeah, the drogist they call it here, with you know perfume whatever. And then I had the fun. If you go to another city and go into the shop with your jeans cut by a scissors, with, like you said, the clothes. And you have to look to the people how they watch you. Okay, that's one is going to steal something in the shop. And but I we had it in the same when I was working there. You always look at people, but you don't people who like shoplifting. You never expect it from them.
Yeah.
You judge in the beginning, and then that's interesting process how that work. That
Right.
clothes is going to your mind. Oh no, he doesn't buy or whatever.
Yeah.
But I had the same experience when I had to look for a lease car, and I think it's 25 years ago that a lady, a woman, could go for a lease car, and that the people in the garage, the men, they say, didn't look at me. Oh, bring your husband, you know? But what I did, you never buy that car again if people treating like that. So it's nice
Yeah. Yeah.
or not, but
Right.
it's the way people prejudge. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
it's interesting. Yeah, yeah. You
So
never know. You never
yeah.
know.
That's what and of course, faith-based, I always say, judgment is mine, saith the Lord. My position is not to judge anyone. I don't judge people, right? Amen. I'm called to love on people, and that's what I want to do. If there's a way I can help you, if I can hold your hand, if I can walk you forward in any way, shape, or form, whatever that is, then that's what my calling is. So it's looking at it from that perspective. And it's helpful to have that perspective with other people. And you never know what direction they're going to go in. But it's just, our judgment is sometimes so off in this business. We always want these hot rod big builders that we get attracted to, and we see them and, oh, this is Mary Jo, if I had this person in my organization, so I helped him sign up that person. In 6 months, he was gone. Well, because he's fly by night. 7 different network marketing companies in 6 years. I mean, he might be flashy. Those aren't necessarily the ones that are going to work out best for you in your business either, right? So, um, so we just want to, be clear in our conversations, right? Look at the conversations they have in there. And our coaching is not about information, it's about consulting. Coaching is asking layer by layer questions, just asking questions. I think that's your best coaching you can do with people, is just layer questions. And that's what he talked about here. We're not in this world to fix people. We're committed to their greatness. So just keep asking questions. Questions are the answers. That's another great book out there too, that helps you just ask questions, right? Yeah, and listening to them. And then the 10th practice is curiosity and listening, to be present, right? Core value, listening, to be present always. And I there's a bunch of did we make this document? I don't know if Lydia's still here. You guys have my document that I did on the review of this? I can get it out, post it somewhere. She'll get it out to all of you. But they give you a list of 8 paradigms on listening paradigms, and see which ones you fit into. And the list goes like this: listen to agree or disagree. Listen with, I already know this. Listen to play charades. I guess how you're going to finish the sentence and cut you off. Listen to one up you. As soon as you take a breath, I say, well, you think that's a great one. Let me tell you what happened to me. 5, listen to only hear the noise coming out of your pie hole. I thought that was a cute statement. As soon as you can cut off so I can launch on my own agenda. That's what that is. 6, listen to boredom. I do hear your voice, but I'm so bored, I stopped listening ages ago. 7, listen to add goldfish. You talk and I'm distracted. And 8 was listen to the narcissist. Only for so long until I interrupt and say, you talked about you so long, let me talk about me, and taking over the conversation. And you want to look at that and say, which one of these listening paradigms fits me best? And then how can I adjust so I don't fit in that category anymore? Because listening is an art. Listening requires acceptance, it requires tolerance, empathy, and respect. Those are the characteristics. So when you don't have time for a person, then this probably isn't the industry you want to be in. I never know when I go out there and I meet somebody, I never know. Am I meeting them for health, wealth, financial? Am I meeting him for just consultation? Am I meeting him to lead him to Christ? I don't in my faith. I don't know why God's put this person in my life, but you know what? I'm willing to be there to figure it out. And like I mentioned, you can find some of the craziest people. Just like Grover is probably my number one story, and some of you remember him. But it was like he really just climbed out from under a rock. And he climbed up that and made, I mean, did remarkable in Manatech. But I never would have guessed it in a million years. How many of us have somebody in our organization that qualifies for that? Come on, raise your hand if you've got one of those Grovers in your organization that just really surprised you. You said, there's no way this person's gonna. I mean, I still love him and I still was working with him every day, anytime he came over, anytime he wanted me to. But this, he grew like crazy. And then the ones that look the best and act the best, some of them are gone in 2 or 3 months. So we want to, stay away from all that judgment, right? And just be the leaders that we can be. We lead anyone that comes in our path, but we learn how to have tolerance. We learn how to stay out of judgment and do our best job of helping them achieve the goals that they've set for themselves. And any last minute comments about the book? Look at, we finished at 2 minutes before 11. Woo! Any other takeaways? Big important things in your life.
Thank you for putting the leadership on fire through the fire here and encouraging us to be readers. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I'll read. I'm going to flip through it often, and
Good.
I look forward to all these other books that we're talking about.
Yeah. Great nuggets in there. And like I said, take a nugget, work, this is what I always tell people in reading books. Grab a nugget and work on it for a week or two or even a month or two. Until if it's something that you really want to develop, you've got to work on it in yourself, right? And you can't take 10 and play that game. It won't work. 7 of them will fall by the wayside in the first week, and then by the end of the month, you'll forget what the other 3 were. So grab onto one, work on one characteristic at a time and really develop that in yourself. Wow. Change your life. Olga.
Okay, I only have 30 seconds, but I guess
No,
it's
we can
it's
go
not.
over.
Thank you for everything you guys do, but I wanted just to and see what you guys think. Remember that Richard said to ask ChatGPT about your story. I want to refresh my story, and I was doubting because it doesn't say how I feel now. It's a 30-second video, and it says like this. There was a time when getting out of bed was already a battle. My body felt weak, exhausted, and constant discomfort. Walking felt heavy, and some mornings I had to drag myself to the edge of the bed. It didn't just affect my body, it affected me emotionally too. I'm not here to promise miracles, just to remind you this. Listening to your body and choosing differently can change your story. I have walked this journey before, and this is just a reminder. That's all for now. What do you think about that? It's a 30-second
Where do you
video.
want to, you're putting on a video?
Yeah. Yeah,
Um,
because I want to give it some emotion and they can see me, how I felt.
yeah,
But it doesn't clarify how I'm feeling now, so I don't know if it's
right. I
good
think
or
that I'm just giving my feedback.
uh,
You drag me too much in the mud.
okay.
I would shorten all your issues into like, something that's really concise
Mm-hmm.
instead of, because the more you went on and on, I'm just going down, you're taking someone's emotions and bringing them down negative, 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 negative.
Uh,
So stick it here and go, and then talk a little bit about, you can say, somebody taught me that I had more control.
mm-hmm.
If I put the right nutrients in my body would respond properly. And that changed everything.
Okay. I hope
Yeah,
this
Olga,
part is
I would
recording.
concur with kind of what Mary Jo's saying. If you think of it, so you're telling the before, right? The problem,
Uh,
so that I'm going
yeah.
downhill. This is where I was, and then something needs to change. So somebody introduced me to a new technology, or I talked to a friend that talked to me about, some nutrients that were really important for my body. And this is what changed. So you need the upside on this. And now,
Mm-hmm.
now I feel so much better and, I have clarity in the morning and, whatever that part of it is,
Mm-hmm.
that's where you need to focus. So the problem, you've got the problem nailed, maybe shorten that a little bit. You need something that changed and then where you are today. So there's kind of three parts to it.
Yeah,
You got the
perfect.
first part really good. Now you need the
I
second
kept
and
on
third part.
falling, but thank you. That's what I thought, but I didn't know how to word it. So, okay, thank you. Thank you. Will do.
And Olga, send it my way if you want to. I'll be more than happy to give you feedback. And okay,
Thank you.
you bet.
Okay.
You bet.
Mm-hmm.
You bet. Anyone
Richard
else?
had me shorten up my speech for like, he says, "What's the rule? There's some rules here. Got to keep it under a minute."
Yeah.
And so I shortened my pain point to I was near uh, total like breakdown. I think I was so close to shutting down, and then I go into the who I trusted that got me on these products. Somebody and my business coaches I trusted them, so I tried it. And then I talk about, and now I got some great things to share. I mean, Olga, I remember your little happy dance girl there. Like I would put that emotion in and I would like, boom, I'm just like this fired lady, I'm really happy to be here and share this with you. If you just have a look, something simple.
You know what,
I
Shane, what
love it.
I enjoy about hearing your story there is when you talked about, you were trying to think of what you said. The problem was you kind of leaned in and you were kind of quiet and, I almost shut down. And then when you're like, I talked to my business coaches and you got up and you were like excited and, I mean, you weren't even really talking about it, but just your energy when you talked about where you are today, that's what comes through. So when you're talking about your problem, whatever that problem is, and again, we always need to have some problem that we solve. We do tend to talk about it in low tone and reverence, but if we never have a solution, then we just kind of stay there. And that's not appealing to people. And so you've got to have that, but this is what changed. And this is how I feel better. And again, even if it's not you and everybody on this call, most of us, we have our own, but you can tell Olga's story or you can tell Mary Jo's story and you can tell Shane's story and you could still have that same energy, even if you're talking about somebody else. But that story needs to be, again, the problem, what changed, and now how much the solution is better, and have that energy that changes displayed.
But keep it concise. When you drag it too long, people aren't going to listen that long. And you don't have to tell them all your problems. This is what I did, and here's all my problems were solved, and give another laundry list. That's why I put in the conclusion I said, and that changed everything. You know what they're going to do? They look at you and go, well, whatever interested them in the problems, they're going to ask you, so how did this change or something? Yeah, you instill in them inquisitiveness instead of laundry list, listening to laundry list, this thing and laundry list. You follow what I'm saying? They're going to pick out what's most interesting to them. But it's just a way of just kind of keeping it more concise, because the most important thing we hear from people is about them, right? Isn't that the focus point when you meet somebody? I want to know about you. And what's the number one person they know the most about? Themselves. Yeah, exactly. So they're an expert on themselves.
It goes back to what are they thinking about?
Yeah,
Themselves. They're not thinking
themselves.
about you, they're thinking
Exactly.
about them.
So you got to be careful when we make it wait, because a lot of people romantic like to tell their big story, and then they took the products and then they got a big story over here. And by the time they're done, the person's like crawling under the table or falling asleep, or, can't wait to move on and go, oh, thank you. And they walk away because we talk too much. So maybe look at your story that you're telling. Where in my story or the conclusion do I leave a sense of intrigue? That's going to cause them to ask a question. Now, once they ask you a question, I'm telling you, the minute somebody starts asking you questions, you should say in the back of your head, this is a sign up. because they're already telling you they're interested. They wouldn't be asking a question if they weren't interested. If they go, oh, that's a nice story, you know that good luck on digging that one out of the ground. But it's like when they start asking questions, that's a great response to have from people. All right, we're good. 11:07. You guys great? So let's go out there and do it. Hopefully you love the book. If you haven't read it yet, you got a lot today, but did I do it? Did I do an outline? I think I did an outline. Would you guys like, maybe I'll have Lydia post it somewhere. I know I have Leadership on Fire. I got an outline from page chapter 3 all the way to the end of the book. I don't know what happened to 1 and 2. I missed that, but I can make that available too in case you want it. But you guys have the book. It's an easy read, as you all know, and he did a great job of giving us some great insights and tips for tweaking ourselves. You've all been in network marketing, some of you 30 years like me. But it's just about how do I tweak to just, if I can get a little bit of edge and be just a little bit better than I've been in the past, how many more signups will that generate? Much more impact will I have with people I talk to? That's our goal. It's not about gigantic steps. It's about where are my tweaks to be more effective. Okay. Bye, everybody.